If you want to raise healthy, grass-fed meat for your family and maybe start a little side hustle on the side, this video is for you. I'm going to try to keep this video short, sweet, and to the point and put things in layman's terms for you guys. If you want a more in-depth video, leave a like and a comment down below, and I'll be sure to make something a little more technical. What you see in front of you here is nothing fancy. 5 steers, grass-fed, in a little lean-to shelter with some bed pack and some hay. When it comes to feeding hay, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. The way that we do it, and this is not how you have to do it, but for our operation, how we do it, is we feed big square bales, 3x3s, that we make specifically for our steers. Now, we have a hay farm on the side. If you watch the channel, you know we make a lot of hay, specifically horse hay. And the thing with horse hay is it requires some higher management treatment when it comes to the hay. So things like chemicals and some fertilizers to keep the weeds and stuff at bay. That's kind of what the horse market kind of requires. But when it comes to our grass-fed beef, the stuff that we are eating and the stuff that we are selling, we market it as 100% grass-fed, healthy beef, no antibiotics, and nothing bad going into their system. That means that we don't feed any hay that's been sprayed with chemicals. Now, we do feed hay that maybe has manure on it, which is an organic form of fertilizer, or chicken litter, or mushroom compost. Those are all organic forms of fertilizer, and that's how we make our hay. Every year we have a specific field or fields, and sometimes they change, but we have fields that we designate as our steer fields, and we make 3x3 big squares. We don't spray it with anything. We may put some fertilizer on it, but we may not. The thing about steers is they do not need fancy hay. You can feed them fancy hay. If you want to feed them straight alfalfa, you can, and they will put on a lot of pounds that way. If you're feeding grass-fed and you want to turn those steers a lot more, you want to put more pounds on quick, feed them a high protein diet, but not put corn and still call them grass-fed, yes, you can feed alfalfa. And honestly, if we had some alfalfa that we were willing to set aside as steer hay, we probably would, but we don't. We use grass hay. They gobble it up like candy because they're steers and they will eat literally anything. Now, with that being said, that does not mean that we're going to feed them the junkiest stuff possible. We did make some hay this year that was actually really bad and just junky, musty, had some mold in it. Steers would eat it and they would be fine, but we didn't want to do that. We still want to feed them somewhat of a decent product. And so this hay here, though it wasn't treated with anything, not sprayed or anything, still has really good color. It smells really good. Yes, there's going to be some weeds in it, like right here. Here's a weed. That's not going to matter. A steer is not going to pay any attention to that. They're going to love this good, green, great smelling grass. No problem. And they will eat a lot of it and put on a lot of pounds. So basically what I want you to take away from this part is that steers will eat anything. Grass, alfalfa, good grass, bad grass, everything in between. It's up to you how you want to feed them. If you want to feed them some maybe poor quality hay but supplement with a little bit of alfalfa, you can do that. Or if you just want to feed them a straight diet of grass, you can do that. They are steers. They will eat anything and they will put on pounds no matter what. The next thing about steers is cleanliness. You want to try to keep them and their pens relatively clean and dry so they don't get a bunch of diseases and all that nasty crap. We bed with predominantly corn fodder. The only reason is because we made a bunch of fodder bales a couple years ago when we were converting an old cornfield to a hay field. We made the corn fodder because we wanted the bedding. That bedding is going into bed pack, which this bed pack is then being spread onto our hay fields and putting the nutrients that was in the corn fodder back onto the fields. We don't make corn fodder just to make corn fodder and sell it, because at the end of the day, when you're making corn fodder off of cornfields, you're pulling a lot of nutrients out of the ground because there is a ton of nutrients in these stalks. It doesn't look like it, but there is a huge amount of nutrients in these stalks. When they decompose, that nutrients goes back into the soil. When you make corn fodder and you take that nutrients away, it's not being decomposed back into the soil, and you're going to have to then spend money on fertilizer or other manure to put those nutrients back in. But if you're making fodder off of a field and you're putting that manure back onto that field, you are replacing the nutrients. However, this stuff was made quite a few years ago, 4 or 5 years ago already at this point. So it's very slowly returning back to the field. Anyway, that was a little bit of a tangent there. We want to keep these guys clean. We use corn fodder because that's what we had, but you can also use straw. Both of them contain a lot of carbon and are very good for bedding. They soak up the stuff and they break down into a nice layer of bed pack. The important thing about bed pack is the bed pack is a microbiome of just a billion different things. There is a lot going on in this bed pack that you cannot see with your eye. The amount of microorganisms and good bacteria and stuff in this bed pack that is feeding on all of this organic matter is more than the stars in the sky. All of the corn fodder and the poop and all the pee in here is working together to create this hot, heating blanket, basically. And on a day like today, where right now it is 2 o'clock in the afternoon and it is about 22 degrees, everything is frozen, but this bed pack is warm and cozy and we keep it bedded and clean, and these guys have a nice warm place to stay even in these super cold months of winter. So you're kind of killing two birds with one stone. You're keeping the animals clean and free of harmful diseases, and you're also keeping them very warm in the cold months. And then there's kind of a third layer to this bed pack, and that is when you clean the barn out. Don't make the mistake that I did and clean this barn out every week. I did that at one point. I was cleaning this thing out every week just to keep, just so I didn't have a huge layer of bed pack to then clean out. But I missed the most important thing about bed pack, and that is that bed pack creates heat, and it's a composting layer of manure. So you don't just want to clean it up all the time. You want to let it stay and do its work. Do the thing that it was meant to do. I clean our bed pack in the springtime when we turn the steers out to the rest of the pasture in the springtime, and they're not really spending much time in here except maybe an hour in a day to eat some hay. I clean this thing out, and I will rebed it with a really heavy layer of corn fodder, and that corn fodder will actually not really get used for a long time because they're just not spending a lot of time in here in the summer months. They prefer it outside, but in the wintertime they spend a lot of time in here. Even though they have a couple acres to roam, they prefer to stay in here because of the bed pack and the warmth and the shelter from the wind and the rain. But in the springtime, that is when I will clean it out, and I will put it out in a pile, and that pile will continue to compost over the coming months, and it will eventually break down into a very fertile and concentrated manure that we will then spread on our fields to continue creating hay. It's a full circle thing for these guys. They eat the hay that we make for them. They poop it out the back. We bed with the corn fodder, and then we put that stuff right back onto the hay fields to create more feed for them. It's just a continuous cycle that goes round and round and round. And literally the byproduct is that you get a really nice, lean, healthy beef that is really good for you, tastes really good, is a lot more sustainable than some other farming practices. Yeah, I'm gonna get some flack for that. I'm gonna get some heat for that. I personally, though I grew up admiring a lot of the big farms in the area, I am starting to look at them as, is that really the best way to farm? I feel that there should be more farmers. I feel like everybody should be a farmer and create their own food. And if not that, I think that we should still have a lot more farmers and sell a lot more local fresh stuff like this. These guys right here bring back buy local, buy fresh. Small farms, bring them back. And unfortunately, that's just not the way that things are trending right now. But I feel as if, as people and as a farmer here, I need to do my part and try to spread this message. Buy local, buy fresh, buy grass-fed. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, that's kind of the basics in growing healthy meat here. Grass-fed beef. We feed hay. We bed it with fodder. We make bed pack. Keep them warm in the winter. In the summertime, we have a couple acres for them to roam, and they just do their thing out there. That's a whole different story, though, when we talk about how we graze them in the summertime. If you want a more in-depth video, like I said, leave a like and a comment, and I will be sure to make a more technical video. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.